All right, the package for the barn door came in yesterday, and I'm busy getting all the pieces and the parts kind of spread out on my makeshift table over here with all the molding on it. And I've got one of the track pieces right here where the door is going to be hooked to. And that is the track right there that is going into the top of the molding there. And what I'm doing currently, as you can see here, is I'm measuring where the holes are going to be for the track. And I'm trying to line them up with this rafter here. So they're 16 inches apart, which is typical for construction. However, what I'm finding is I don't think I'm going to have to worry about the 16 inches apart here, because right behind here there's a stud or a plate that runs horizontal, which that is screwing into right now. So I think I'm going to be able just to lay the track out, put the holes wherever they land, and then we'll be able to get the door made and then the track secured up top and have a rolling barn door here. So making it a little bit easier. I tested it out already by putting this track. You can see the lag screw there. I already put it in there, and it's secure enough where it's not hitting the rafter, but it's hitting the stud right behind there. So I think that's what we're going to do. And I'm just going to now make this track the full 9 foot with the screws that I have, lay it up on the top there where I want it to be, and then drill the holes and put the connections in and then see how it turns out. All right, I had to drop this quick sketch right here of the dimensions on where the track for the barn door is going to go on that wall. I wanted to be relatively precise so we get some symmetry of how the door is going to fall on the track to the left side, and then when it's all the way open to the right. And the dimensions work out really well because the door is going to be 51 inches wide. The total opening here, or track length that we have, is 108 inches. And these are two 54-inch pieces here. So essentially making 9 feet. So what that means is, if I got my math correct, because there was a lot of math involved here, at least for this part of the construction, 3 inches past the end of the molding to the left, and then it's going to come down all the way 9 foot this way. That'll leave the door at 51 inches, 3 inches to spare, because there's going to be a stopper on the track to prevent the door from going any further to the left. And then it'll open up to the right, and then there'll be a stopper at the end of the track down here, which will stop the door, hopefully, to the edge here and make it look really clean. So that is the plan right now. Looking at my 5-minute sketch here, and that's what it looks like it's going to take, and that's what we're going to go with. So in the meantime, because I don't have to do anything with this hole, I don't have to match it up to the rafters that are coming through, I'm just going to lay it out. We're going to fill that one in, but lay out everything else, and then put it up. Hopefully we'll get that done tonight. All right, after careful consideration and trying out that hole right there that is now filled, we had to go back to putting the holes on each rafter. Let me explain why. When I put in this hole and then put the lag bolt through, it didn't catch anything solid enough on the other side here, as in it did not catch this rafter, obviously, because we moved it over a little bit. But there's not enough wood on the other side to catch the bolt going through, which means that would have been the same for any other hole I would have put on the railing. So unfortunately, we have to go on each rafter, because I have that little triangle piece from many, many videos ago on each one of these that we can drill into and tap into with the lag screws. And that goes all the way down to the end here. As you can see, there's a hole right there, and then it goes all the way back There's going to be a total of what, 6, I think? 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, yep. And this bar only has 6 holes and they don't all align. So what I'm going to have to end up doing is drilling 7 holes along here in to match up on this bar here. And fortunately, I've got a drill press and some metal drill bits to go through, and got to line it up very carefully. And it's going to be taking some very tight precision to get that rectified. So we're going to proceed with that here over the next couple of days. And then what I'm going to do with the holes that are remaining to kind of pretty that up a little bit, I will probably end up getting some very short bolts, that the smallest ones I can find, maybe 1/2 inch long, that are the same size. And I'm just gonna glue these or epoxy them into the holes that are left open after they're painted black. That way it'll look pretty stylish and it'll fit in pretty well with the rest of the railing. All right, we've got all of the holes drilled, like I said earlier, and I've gone back through and I actually caulked the top of this and then down the sides, so I don't have to go through it again once I get the bar up. And then I've painted, as you can see, the paint is still wet here, over the holes where I made marks and everything, pencil marks, Sharpie marks. There were a few blemishes on the wall. I cleaned those up. And the reason why I did that now is so I can get the first bar in on the top after I drill the holes correctly in them down there. And then we're going to attach it. And then right after that, I'm going to put the second bar in, level it up and make sure that it works okay. And then that'll complete pretty much the railing part of the door. All right, I've gone through and I've drilled out the holes on the track to match the holes that are in the rafters that are coming up through here. And looks like they're all straight. I just used a metal drill bit and went down to the drill press, clamped it in, and then drilled the holes out. It only took me about, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes to do all 3 of those holes. And it looks like it came out pretty well. So we are going to put those into place, and then I will show you how that looks like in a few minutes. All right, check it out. We've got the first bar up. It's not totally bolted in yet. I've left a little bit of slack in each one of the bolts that are into the wall, but it's pretty secure and it is nice and level. What I wanted to show you is how level it is. And you can see right there, it is pretty much on the money. So I don't foresee the door moving at all at this point. So we've done a good job lining everything up and getting all the holes correct. Now I'm going to connect the other piece here. There's a plate that goes here, and there's 2 other holes on the other bar track, and then you just bolt those in. And then I've got to hold it up in place and line up the holes, and then we'll drill those 3 holes out. I think what I'm going to end up doing on this one, because there's no support here, is if you look closely behind hole number 2 here, there's one of the holes that I screwed in to secure this track to the wall. But it's only about 1/2 inch off from this one, maybe even 1/4 inch from the center. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill straight in, and I should be able to hit that stud or rafter or joist or whatever on the other side, and it should secure it, and that'll make it nice and stiff here. So that's what we're going to do. Pray for the best. If not, I can just go maybe at an angle here up into that stud and then call it a day. So as long as it gets the job done and looks relatively decent, I will be happy with that. All right, I've changed my mind and I've decided to show you how I'm going to drill the holes into the track here. I've already mounted the track to my drill press, and what you see here is the metal drill bit that I'm using that I used on the first track. And we're just going to drill right through this. Hopefully the edge of the drill bit catches and goes right through. Had a problem with the first one I did, but the other 2 holes ended up working out just fine. But I don't anticipate it being too bad here. And what we typically do also is we want to make sure that the bit and the metal don't get too hot. And to keep that cool, we use oil like I have in this little container here. And I didn't have any drill press oil, so what I'm using is vegetable oil, which is a good substitute for that. And you'll actually smell that when it starts to heat up. It smells like you're cooking it on a stove. But this will help keep this cool and allow the bit to save life on it, and then go through the metal a little easier. So we're gonna try that right now. I'm gonna turn the drill press on. Hopefully I don't get too much in the way, and let's see how it goes. All right, that hole's drilled all the way through. I'm gonna vacuum this up, rinse and repeat on the other two holes, and then we'll be done. All right, check it out. We have the entire tracking system in for the barn door completed, and it looks great. I actually thought it was gonna go in a little harder than it actually did, but the biggest piece was just drilling those holes and then making sure everything was lined up all right. Now, the only thing I had to fiddle around with a little bit was this little splice here that you can see. There's a little gap there, that's fine. But I had to make sure that that was level. So it took a little maneuvering of these 4 bolts here to come out and make it level. This is actually pretty stiff right now. So there's not a lot of give here. So I don't need to drill in behind here into the wall. And there's a little hole back there from where I was gonna drill it. I'm gonna fill that in with the spackling, and then I'll smooth it out with some hand sandpaper, and then try to get a paintbrush back there to fill that in. You're never gonna see it, but I know it's there, as you can see right there. So since I know it's there, I'm going to sleep better at night if I fill that in and make it correct. So we're gonna do that here sometime, but it's really tight in there. It's going to support a lot of weight. And in fact, I don't think I'm going to fill in those holes. I think they look okay the way they are, and we're just gonna leave those. They did give me some caps for the end here, so we'll put those in on the end pieces, but everything else is going to look pretty good. And you can see here, just by looking at the level here, it is dead on, and that includes down here on where the splice is. You can see it's dead on. So really happy about that. And the last piece I want to show you before we wrap this series up is the barn door. Rollers that are going to be on there. And this is how precise I had to be with everything. When the barn door is going to lay straight, you can see I have maybe 1/4 of an inch before it hits the wall, with the door being straight down. And that's just gonna roll very smooth all the way across. As you can see, not gonna hit the wall at all. And it's gonna look fantastic when it's done. And I even got enough here where the door is actually gonna come right up to the edge of the molding. It's gonna leave about maybe 1/4 of an inch between the rail and the molding. So it's just gonna be really tight once I'm done with it. So with the railing being in there like it is, I am going to be able to now measure how big the door needs to be and the width and everything. I'm probably just gonna leave 1/4 of an inch at the bottom here, so it's gonna be very tight. 1/4 inch at the bottom, 1/4 inch at the top, and then we'll secure the the rollers onto the door, and then we'll put it up into place and see how it works. So with that, I'm going to close this series out because the next piece here is to actually build the door. And I am going to put that into a different series. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, very happy with what I see here. We will see you at the next series. So until then, peace out.